You have an idea, you open Claude, and then nothing comes out. Not because you cannot code, but because you cannot explain the thing in your head clearly enough for the machine to understand it. And that feeling is exactly where this video starts. I took that stuck moment and built this from it. A personal second brain kind of app, sort of like Obsidian, where you write notes, link them, and it draws a live map of how your ideas connect. But it's just compressed into one paragraph of plain English. No code, no developer, or everything is done in one sitting. Hello, I'm Zhenya, an information designer and project manager, and I study systems that do not work. The systems that breaks most beginners isn't the code, it's the step before the code. By the end of this video, you'll watch this whole app get built from scratch, and you'll have the 5-field method I used to brief it. So Claude builds exactly the app you want, not some sort of generic app. No terminal experience needed, because the fear of not being able to brief the machine is the only thing that stands between you and the result. Here's where most people go wrong. They open Claude full of an idea and type, build me a node taken up, and that's exactly what Claude does. It builds your node taken up, just not your node taken up, yeah? So you correct it, and they corrected the correction, and 2 hours later, you've got something vague that half works. And then they decide they're not technical enough. But it was never about being technical, actually, because we gave Claude an ambiguous request, and ambiguous request forces Claude to guess. What every guess is essentially a coin flip, and 20 coin flips compiled together into a build which looks nothing like what we have imagined in the beginning. The fix to this is to write a good brief. 5 fields, 10 minutes, filled out before you type a single prompt. Field 1, what it does in one sentence. Not a node app, that's the vague version that gets you the wrong build. But for example, I write here a node taken up, where I write nodes, link them with double brackets, and see a visual graph of how they connect. Something specific and behavioral, something you could point at and say yes or no. Field 2, who uses it? Just me, in my case, in my laptop, no accounts, no other people. That one line actually relieves Claude from doing a week's work of work, because otherwise we never have to build logins, databases, permissions, etc. So if you don't need those things, just say so in the beginning. Field 3, the core behaviors, 3 to 5. Finish the sentence. When I do this, it should do that. When I type a double bracket around the word, it becomes link. Clicking link opens that node, and when 2 nodes are linked, a line connects them on the graph. 3 behaviors, and that's enough to start. Field 4, and this nobody does for some reason. Exactly what you do not want. Yeah, no cloud sync and no login screen, keep it to a single page, etc. This field saves you more time than all the others combined, because Claude adds features by default. Such a good thing to remember, yeah? Imagine it's like an eager intern that, if you don't draw a fence, builds you a cathedral instead of little house that you ask for. Field 5, the one thing that must go well. If everything else is rough, but this one thing works, it's a win. For the second brain, it was the graph for me, yeah? The nodes could look very plain, the buttons could be ugly, but that life of connected ideas had to feel alive, and that naming this feature tells Claude that that's where it needs to spend its effort. Now, what if you sit down and to fill this out and you feel blank? You get to field 3 and you have no idea what the behavior should be. And actually, you don't have to guess, because you have AI to ask, yeah? Paste what you've got and add one line. Before writing any code, ask me questions about this idea until you understand it well enough to build it. And Claude essentially starts to interview you, yeah? To say, ask her questions. The questions maybe you have no idea you needed to ask. You answer in plain English, and the brief kind of writes itself through the conversation. And this is the part no tutorial shows you. You don't need the answer before you start. You need a starting point and a tool that asks good questions. So the first thing to do is actually to create a folder and point a Claude to that folder. That's quite important, yeah? And the way you do this is you copy the path and you CD in the terminal so that Claude knows where to live, yeah? So it's gonna only see the files in that folder. Then you paste the brief. The Claude thinks a little bit. It actually tells no questions, which is sometimes a good sign. And here's the result, yeah, sidebar, editor, preview. Let's take a look in the browser. Yeah, it kind of got all we wanted, yeah. So then the graph preview in the bottom, node section in the top right. Here you can see the graph is working. I add new nodes and I connect them, and it feels like, yeah, and the square brackets for connection also works. It highlights the active node with red color, it zooms in and out, you can drag them around, perfect, that's what I needed. Yeah, who needs Obsidian, right? Now the second one. Let's create a new folder and see what happens if we ask Claude to create something without a brief. So I do the same. I point the Claude to new folder so it doesn't know about the other folder and just creates everything from scratch. And this time you see my brief is super simple. Build me a node taken up with a graph. And no other instructions. The new app, the second version, looks more polished, more buttons, nicer layout, but look closer because Claude invented its own nodes, its own structure, its own idea of what I wanted, essentially, yeah? That's not what I like. This isn't my app, it is the average app the Claude has seen 1,000 times. It looks finished, you accept it, and then spend 2 hours bending someone else's app into the thing you actually pictured. And the brief, in this case, it actually saves you time, yeah, because it kind of skips all those steps. And here's what makes this stick. Formalization is uncomfortable on purpose. When you try to describe your idea and find you cannot, that's useful because it means the idea isn't ready yet. That discomfort isn't failure, it's the actual work, yeah, that your mind does. What you're building is structured thinking about the systems, and that transfers everywhere. If you want to see the same upstream thinking applied to a full research workflow, my video on automating research, I'm going to link it right here, shows what happens when the formalization is done and the AI runs on top of it. Do you remember that 5-field brief we started from in the beginning of the video? It's the Vibe Coding Starter Pack. I'm going to link it in the description. It's free and you can download it and use. Specifically, before go with the terminal, fill it out, and it's going to save you 2 hours of guessing. Grab it now while it's in front of you. Here's what nobody worries about you next. You build something incredible, it works, and then a few days later, you open it and it's broken. Same code, same app, but nothing works, and you have no idea why. That happened to me, and the way out of this is a completely different skill from briefing. If you ever had something work yesterday and break today for no reason, that's our next video. You don't need to learn to code, you need to learn how to explain. Start with a brief and build the thing you can carry in your head. I want to see it.